Okay. What were some of the um, things that strengthened you and gave you the courage to leave? Or what was it
Well,
in the Bible that was revealed to you that this was not God's plan?
well, I'll be honest with you. I really didn't come to a theological conclusion that I had a way out until I was on my way out.
Mm.
Um, there had been about 5 times when I should have literally been dead.
Wow.
And the straw that broke the final straw that broke the camel's back was we were having an argument, and believe it or not, we were arguing over scripture.
I believe it.
And it's amazing. Most of the violence came over scripture and our religious differences.
Mm.
But I realize now those were just excuses to exercise her learned behavior that she learned from my mother.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I was walking away, and the Spirit of God just simply told me to turn around, and out of my peripheral vision, I saw her arm going back like a pitcher that was throwing a fastball across the plate, and in her hand were a pair of those steel scissors,
Mm.
and she had unleashed them at the back of my head.
Oh my God.
And as I turned around, they missed me about maybe half an inch, and they flew past my forehead and stuck 2 inches deep into the kitchen wall.
Wow.
And I made up my mind then that no matter what anybody said, no matter what anybody told me,
Mm-hmm.
I was going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was in ministry,
Okay.
and I was, threatened that I would not be able to preach and those kinds of things,
Mm.
because God hates divorce. Malachi chapter 2, God hates divorce. And so, but I made up my mind then, even though I did not leave probably for about another 4 years.
Wow.
And we had a daughter,
Okay.
and I certainly wanted to, and I think Shaila made a good point, and she said she wanted to keep her family together.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a part of me that wanted to keep the family together,
Sure.
and I think that's a natural inclination. But at the same time, when you get out, you realize some of the things that you were teaching your children by staying
Mm-hmm.
were things that you didn't intend on teaching.
Yes.
Because they were watching.
Yeah, they were watching and they're learning. And I'll never forget. So it wasn't until I got out that I really started studying scripture for myself. And I remember I'd moved out into an 8 by 18 room. You walk in the front door, you're out the back door.
But it was yours and you were alone.
Yeah, it's all I could afford. And I was laying there one night on my twin bed with my little portable black and white television and my little refrigerator that was probably 3 feet high. And I'm in full-time ministry in one of the largest African-American Baptist churches in Tampa at the time.
Wow.
It's amazing. And I was deeply discouraged and depressed. And I'm like, Lord, what is this? This is not making any sense. And then the Lord reminded me that this is what real peace and emotional health costs you. You can't put a price tag on it. And he gave me a verse in Joel 2 that was intended for Israel. And he told Israel, he said, I will restore to you the years that the locusts and the cankerworms have eaten and devoured, and your vats will overflow with wine. And so for me, a practical application that night, which I clung to every time I had a struggle, was that domestic violence, whether it's physical, verbal, emotional, financial, it has a way of eating at your emotional and mental, spiritual health like locusts eat after the good vegetables.
Yes.
And so I knew God was not going to put me in a time machine to give me a redo, but the promise was that if you walk with me and continue to look towards me, I will give you a future that pales in comparison, that your past pales in comparison to the future that he would give you.
That's right.
And God has God has every year restored something to me that I lost during those 15 years.
Amen.